Hi everybody! So I am going to give a presentation on my law memorandum, just to give a little overview and break it up so you can see what it's like visually. So I did mine on human health and people's environmental rights. So my question presented is, do legal frameworks protect human health and their environmental rights for citizens of the community, like clean water and air, under international and domestic law, and then how are these regulations enforced? So then for the part of the memorandum that includes my brief answer, I said that international and domestic law says that everybody should have the essentials, which are life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, property, health, safety, and all the things that come with it, because it is an essential part of people's protections and also just their happiness and well-being. So the United Nations and also the Human Rights Council says that it is a right, and some of the acts that are implemented are the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act, and they just regulate the pollution and they hold health to a higher standard for their citizens. And despite this, though, there are some struggles like regulation gaps and powerful industries' influences, which I'll get into more later. There is a problem with a rampant production of industries. So the legal case that I chose to focus on that I felt related to my topic the most of environmental rights was called Juliana versus United States. And this was a group of kids all under the age of 21. It was about 20 of them. And they felt like their constitutional rights had been violated, specifically the Fifth and Ninth Amendments, which just guarantees that they are going to have environmental protections. They said that the government was producing fossil fuels, which is going to lead to climate change, which then in turn is going to affect their future generations and won't allow them to have a happy, healthy, and safe lifestyle. And it's also affecting them currently. So the public trust doctrine had also been violated, and this is a document that just provides the public to have access to recreational things. And the government kind of had a hard time siding with them. They didn't even think that this is a case that they should take on because they felt it was a political issue, not a legal issue. But thankfully to the Ninth Circuit, they said that this case was able to proceed because, like I said, it's going to affect future generations and it's just not a good look. So the reason why I chose to focus on an issue like this in regards to human health and our rights is because with technology advancing and also there is an increase of homes, for example, and ecosystems are being destroyed. Industries are also increasing in their productions, where consumer culture, we're always wanting more and more and more. And so all of this rampant production and also how we have a population increase is going to lead to a decline in human health. And this relates to me because before moving to this area in South Carolina, my parents were a little hesitant because they wanted to put a power plant next to our house, which could affect all the neighborhoods, and everyone was coming together to vote for that to not be implemented. So ultimately, the main reason why this is going to be detrimental is because poor air quality is going to have health effects like respiratory issues, heart disease, and lung cancer, and some of these things can be genetic. And then unsanitary water is going to lead to problems within your own bowels, gastrointestinal issues, and this is due to bacteria, parasites, and things that we don't even know are in our water. And so even though us college kids might feel like we're healthy, maybe we have better immune systems, some people are not as fortunate, like children, the elderly, and also those who are already sick and hospitalized. And some people have barriers to accessing safe and clean resources, but what all these laws and documents are stating is that since it is a human right, people's location, their race, and then also their financial situations should not come in the way of people having a clean and healthy environment. Thankfully, our rights are protected under treaties, constitutions, and laws, and the Paris Agreement is also an example of this because it wants equal distribution of these resources and not just to let the elites get them and then to leave the minorities just stranded, because obviously that would not be equitable for everybody, because we also want citizens to be able to partake in what happens in their community and to have a say so that they're not exposed to these harmful practices and these chemicals. And like I said, land is being industrially exploited, and whenever we are having a rampant production of these things, it's going to destroy ecosystems and deplete our resources. And so we want to have a say in what happens in our community. Sustainable development needs to become more important, and people's rights shouldn't be jeopardized by this commercialization. So the United Nations is responsible for all of these crises worldwide and internationally. And like I said, they think that clean water and air are deemed a necessity and a human right. And the General Assembly also joined along on this idea, saying that it is crucial to enjoying a happy and healthy life. Climate change and pollution are going to put stress on our clean resources. So that's why us and also the government to also go hand in hand, play a role, and affect all of these issues and prevent them. And whenever we have an increase of population, it's going to have a higher demand for sustainability, not just in our ecosystems, but also when it comes to urban development. Our homes, where are we staying? What are we eating? Our farming, all of that stuff. And the World Health Organization and UNICEF track this progress, and they're also going to uphold the Sustainable Development Goals, specifically number 6, which just talks about having clean water. And then all of these ideas are beneficial because they're going to influence and push other countries to also have the same environmental protection. Domestically, though, so these acts, the Clean Water Act and also the Clean Air Act, which were created in 1970, set national quality standards. They discharge pollutants and chemicals and microplastics in our water and our air supply. And it also helps citizens have a say, like I said, to bring lawsuits against those who are going to violate our standards. And they also want to provide mechanisms for private enforcement. Another case is Massachusetts versus EPA. They're going to reinforce our protections against things in our water supply. And the United Nations says biodiversity is a protected asset, which is helpful for us because that is very important to having a successful ecosystem. So it is ultimately the government's job as they oversee all of these productions to ensure resources will be there for future generations. And the World Health Organization and the United Nations also is trying to push for having clean air and water by 2030, which is in about 5-6 years from now. Environmental Justice Executive Order, which was created in 1994, is going to force federal agencies to consider how their policies are affecting minorities and vulnerable populations, and so that we can focus on the people that need it most, as opposed to, like I said, the elites. Clean habitat should be a standard regardless of people's situations, because no one knows what we're truly dealing with until we go down to their level. And an example of this happened right here in the state of New York. The state versus ExxonMobil, there was a lawsuit filed because this company leached all of their oil and harmful chemicals into their water supply. So hopefully you have a better understanding of my case and my memorandum, and I would love to answer some questions, and thank you so much for listening. Bye!